Well, let's just say I called it. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, number 2, have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, here we are to do a breakdown slash, it is really breakdown and review for the first 2 chapters of this, but the 3rd chapter I haven't read yet, so we got a lot of Ichi the Witch to cover. A lot of Ichi the Witch. My apologies. First week I just fell behind. Second week was busy and I fell behind again. And then 3rd week, here we are now. And people have been waiting and itching and scratching. And I recorded the first 2 chapters already. But like I mentioned in earlier videos produced at the same time this week, I did record a whole bunch. And then I tried to edit when sleepy. And as you know, me when sleepy, if you've seen it in this review series or other review series, doesn't go too well. And I deleted the first 2 recordings. I'm very sad because, as you can imagine, I may or may not have popped off at a certain reveal in the 2 chapters I've already read. But of course, we do have chapter 68 as well. So I'm very excited. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into chapter 66 of Ichi the Witch, which is known as Hunt 66, 5 seconds of connection. And just as before, I don't know everything I said in that review, but the 5 seconds till connection thing gave me, or 5 seconds of connection, gave me like Jimmy Neutron style brain blast to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Specifically remake, not talking about Rebirth or whatever the 3rd one's going to be, or Reconnect. No, specifically remake, or not, it's Reunion. That was what the Crisis Core remake was called. But essentially, it gave me hardcore flashbacks to that, because Sephiroth, towards the end of Remake, says 7 seconds till the end. And I still don't think I know what that means. I still don't think I know what that means, especially after like getting caught in Rebirth. But regardless, let's talk about this beautiful color cover page. Jigishirone, or Sammy, or as we'll get basically a proper name for them this chapter, right, as the Prophecy Magic. Dare I say, well, to be fair, y'all know. I think so far, especially after reading Iwurumakun and reading it every single week now, Osamu Sensei is a beast with the pen. A monster with the pen. A genuine animal with the pen. If you remember back when Jigishirone was first introduced, I was like, kind of legendary and wild character design, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to like it. I really like the character now. Shockor. Especially after, not even 10 chapters ago, she was like a horrible person. Now that I have, it really is, wow, this is a really bad person. Oh, we got, shoot, man, so much. But on the color cover page itself, this character design, to work so well, even when heavily subdued like this, is crazy. It's just, and I think the reason it works so well is because of the sharp contrast, right? Like, the bright, I almost say, not necessarily neon. It's almost too, I think because of the hat, and this is such a fan, Shiro Suzaki Sensei, I need to know what they feed you, dog. But essentially, because of the hat putting a little bit of, darkness over the hair, it's not bright neon pink, but the way the light shines directly on the front and the white contrasts so heavily with the white of the light pink contrasts so heavily with the white of the cloak, which contrasts heavily with the color of her skin and the hands and in her face versus the light. I'm not even sure, this is I guess a more saturated pink than the pink of her actual clothing. This is just a fantastic fire design being amplified by color. Blue isn't necessarily a color I think I'd pick, even though I'm pretty sure the blue hat is one of the consistent parts from her main design that did get carried over to her travel design. But even so, the blue and the pink work together. Works really, really well. And the contrast fits, because you gotta remember, this is 2 people, right? Sammy is wielding the body, but ultimately this is Jigishirone, the witch. So it is great to see the contrast. Even the bright blue and green eyes, right? And the plus versus the, not necessarily Midas sign, I don't know, the dash that goes through, and they're all lighting up and burning as you see her licking the blood that drips from her nose. That, it's so good. It's good. It's got it. But with it being the case, let's hop into the chapter itself. So we open up, and we do get to see that while Gokuraku, as per chapter 65, was absolutely going buku bonkers on the clones that showed up, and did manage to annihilate them, they still are currently dealing with the remainder of the clones. 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 But with it being the case, we see that naturally, Gokuraku, or no, Jigishirone specifically says, "Hey, Goku, don't drift too far." I don't know what it, every time I see the word, to be fair, it's Gokuraku, right? It's literally his name. But every time I see it shortened down or just see Goku, my brain goes, Son Goku. Gosh darn it. Carter's dojo, man. It's his fault. I always say, Son Goku. But now, every time I see Goku, I read it, Son Goku. Hey, Son Goku. Don't drift too far. You won't be able to hear my directions. Which is actually a very cool limitation of the powers, right? Ultimately, the big limit of Jigishirone is it's more than what we'll see in this chapter. But the other big limit is that, like, she does need to communicate, and she herself, even in spite of her having a witch's body, because of the nature of the vessel she's in, she's not the most powerful magically. She truly is, it feels weird saying, like, she's an information merchant, but she low-key is an information merchant. But of course, if she's an information merchant, even in the moment, you do need to communicate. It's a great way to balance future sight powers. And also just the limited nature of her future sight powers are also a good way to balance them. Typically, I am always against foresight abilities. Precognition, I'm fine with, because precognition is typically only battle applicable. And, like, notably, I feel like the most comfortable I am with any sort of, like, literal future sight is when it's dumb, stupid, vague, and prophecy based, like in Percy Jackson and Seven Sin, specifically Bartra. And that's kind of it. I don't really like having set in stone futures, even if, like, a big theme of the narrative is breaking those futures, as we see with this very chapter here. But CHRO is also, like, she's going on the list as a well-balanced use of future sight, considering it's relatively vague for her too. And I think that's fantastic. But with it being the case, it's great to see her limited by the fact that she does need to communicate with Gokuraku, who is currently basically their only AP. Ichi's still knocked out. Ichi seems like he's going to stay knocked out, which is going to, like, I'm very much interested in the chapter I haven't read yet. Because since I've read 66 and 67, I'm very interested to see how 68 is handled. Because Ichi's here, but he's not here. I'm very interested to see how that's going. But with it being the case, we see that naturally Gokuraku, who still doesn't have the best opinions on Majix, is like, bossy much, you freaky ghost? And who said you could call me Goku? Who said you could call me Son Goku? And that is, admittedly, I take, like, I don't necessarily mind when nicknames are assigned to me in particular, because my name is relatively short. It's Pencil, right? So when people started calling me Pen, I was just like, well, to be fair, no. My full name, that guy with a pencil, is long. So when people started calling me Pencil, I was like, pretty natural. Like, what are you going to call me? Guy? That? With? A? But then people started calling me Pen, and I was like, you know, because that does... Because, you know, sometimes, like, nicknames are foisted upon you, and you're like, huh. Didn't really expect that. Same thing happens in real life. But with it being the case, we see that CHRO is like, it's quicker and easier to say, so I can give you directions faster. And that honestly is a good reason. It's good. And, like, obviously you may be able to say, well, couldn't she just give directions generally? He should know that he's the only one who's capable of following them. Yes. But still, Son Goku. And with that being the case, we see that CHRO explains, or I keep saying CHRO, it's Sammy. Sammy explains, every second counts. That's the kind of battle this is. And that is very, very good, right? Especially, we do have to remember, despite us getting very little context surrounding the statement, right? We need to remember this. Very little context surrounding the idea that both Kizashi and Hitsugi are of the 7 stars. They are of the 7 stars, right? Like, they basically, not necessarily, I feel like it's weird calling them the Akatsuki / Espada, but they basically are the Akatsuki / Espada, as far as we know, of the group. Maybe the 10 Commandments, if that's another group. Like, essentially, they are a major villain group. So it does make sense that even with how cracked our current cast is, how much I want to be cracked by. But regardless, despite, obviously, Deskross being a bad situation, that's also going to show how powerful Hitsugi is and how good his manipulation is as one of the 7 stars. And Kizashi being this powerful of a threat, even with his clones, is also a fantastic way to show how powerful and dangerous he is as one of the 7 stars. This is a fantastic way to show off that dichotomy. Gokuraku is extremely powerful. CHRO's ability is extremely busted in most contexts. But even these partial clones of Kizashi that are not containing his full power or his full lives are enough to put Gokuraku on the back foot. Of course, Gokuraku is saddled down with a pregnant woman, a non-combatant, a sleeping non-combatant now, who would typically be a combatant, and a very fragile mage. But still, regardless, it's good to show how powerful that Kizashi is. And it's also why I still don't think they're going to capture him. Like, especially with the way the Deskross situation is going, I don't even see Hitsugi getting captured, which I think is fine. Like, Hitsugi gives off very, very penultimate final boss vibes, and him getting captured this early and this easy did feel weird. But with it being the case, I want to cut back to Deskross so she can crack. But with that being the case, we see that CHRO instantly claps her hands together and starts focusing on the future. And this is where we get the name for, or like possibly the official name for Sammy, or Mirasam, And like, I know Mirai means future in Japanese. So Mirasam, show me Mirasam. This is, I'm not sure if this is meant to be a representation of what CHRO's true form is, or if this is, you know, just like what their magic manifests as when they look into the future. But now I understand where Sammy comes from. Mirasam, Sammy. Unless you want to call her like Miri, which I guess could work. But Sammy now makes sense for the Prophecy of Modric's name. And she immediately goes to look into the future, and she calls out media instructions. Now, this is very cool, right? She's very specifically going short-term broadcast in the moment kind of things because of how powerful Kizashi's clones are. This will backfire. This will backfire. But with it being the case, we see her go 3 o'clock, 1, 9 o'clock, 1, 6 o'clock, up, I was saying 1 again, 6 o'clock, bomb! And immediately, we see the remaining clones of the Kizashi brothers, whose names I do forget. I didn't forget Pooh. Oh, I couldn't forget Pooh. But the remaining Kizashi brothers, after one of them got annihilated, they rush up and then execute their specific attacks. And we see, once again repeated, there's one coming in from 3 o'clock, one coming in from 9 o'clock. And this is honestly very impressive on multiple levels. One, Gokuraku being able to react in time to these clones, even with the commands, right? Because, like, I just think of it like this. And I explain it in fighting game terms, right? Especially, I remember back when I was first learning fighters in particular. And the thing my friend who was teaching me fighters told me, this be the taste out of my mouth, was if you're thinking on how to do the combo, it's too slow. you do need, you want as little input delay as possible, because input delay is what leads to drop combos. Obviously, especially online, but even in person, if you are not moving your fingers fast enough on the controller, then especially extremely tight combos, the most optimal combos that do a lot of big damage, you'll simply fall out. Your opponent will fall out because you aren't fast enough with it. So for Gokuraku to receive these commands with maybe like a second or two of delay, interpret them perfectly as he's flying in midair, after presumably not I think this new flight mode of his is definitely an upgrade that's unique to him now. He didn't have this back in the Bakugami arc. So for him to be able to react like this under this much pressure, under these commands, and specifically for Jichirone to time and announce where they are by 3 o'clock positions, by clock positions relative to Gokuraku's position and herself, that is a fantastic display of battle IQ and just insane reaction speed from Gokuraku. Because we see Komugi terrified by the little chubby Kizashi clone leap out, and we see Gokuraku immediately roll around, drop kick it away, and then we see, as Gokuraku stalled the other one more from 9 o'clock, we see immediately Gokuraku weave, and then notably, this is a crazy weave too, because he dips, it looks like here, the big buff one goes to swing, but it whiffs entirely because I think it's Gokuraku controlling. He's either him or... No, it's either him or Jichirone who's driving, right? So they tilt the ship, they tilt the, tied together, what are they called? Comets. They tilt the tied together comets to the side, forcing him to whiff. And then instantly, so I'm considering she's calling out the commands, I'm assuming this is Gokuraku who tilts the thing to the side. And then as he tilts it to the side, he whirls around as the little one, again, goes in for La Bamba. And then Gokuraku immediately meets it with a counter explosion that neutralizes the bomb. They're moving lights right there. Gotta cut it with the sauce. I'm not gonna lie to you, Chief. And he immediately blasts them off. But notably, as you can see, they aren't really doing much damage. They're simply staving them off. Not a single life hasn't been taken, or has been taken. And that is the very important thing, right? Ultimately, these lives are determined by how long they are alive. It seems... Have we seen Magics get tired? We haven't seen them we have seen them, run out of resources. But that was specific... Bakugami's weird. The more, as much as I do love the Bakugami arc, and this isn't even, as much as in, a critique thing, but now something I've noticed, now that we've seen more powerful Magics, and now we're meeting 7 stars, a thing I've noticed about Bakugami in particular is that, unlike a lot of the other Magics, he's very weird in the sense that, he relies on an external energy source. He gets bigger with time. He has multiple forms, a humanoid form and a pure bestial form. He's very strange in a lot of ways. He's an exception of exceptions, which is interesting, especially considering he was captured by our main character. But obviously for the Kizashi clones, they basically have infinite stamina. Unless their lives are taken, they're going to keep attacking. And we see them even complain, "Dang it! They're reading our every move!" And the big guy says, "Boy, it sure makes me mad." You know, I clown him more, but there are times where, despite all my ability to articulate myself in extremely performative and well-executed fashion, sometimes the most basic communication is all you need. But with it being the case, we see that naturally, Komugi, unfortunately, and I do feel bad for Komugi. She does clutch up in a second, but I feel bad for Komugi in the sense of man, talk about I'm not even the fact that she's fully invaluable, But right now, I bet she just feels much as a liability because she's the only one. Like, she can't drive the thing. She's just, I bet, essentially there for Minerva to make sure she doesn't fall off, and that's got to be extremely tense considering she right now can't defend herself. Right? She's relying fully on Gokuraku, and even then, she also can't defend Jikichirone, who is focused on reading the future. And she says, "Master Jikichirone," and naturally, Jikichirone or Sammy's like, "Not yet. This isn't it." And we get a slight little flashback as Gokuraku, his very handsome self, bro. Look at the jawline, look at the hair. Let's see. He says, "Yeah, this isn't getting us anywhere. Reading them and blocking is just basically stalling. All it does is wear us down without dropping the octopi's life counts. To stop them for good, I need to nail them with my super ultra awesome attack." I love Gokuraku. I love Gokuraku. It's like, and don't get me wrong, his attack is super duper omega awesome. But like still, it's very, because since Gokuraku's so big, like since he's a titan of a man, right? It's very easy to forget he's also relatively young and sheltered. Like so far, all of our main characters, except for like Descaros, who got socialized a bit after losing her entire clan. Like all of our major characters are outcasts socially with minimal interaction and are relatively young in one way or another. Like Descaros did have socialization from her clan once again, and also, you know, actually going to the Mantenna Witch Association school. But for Gokuraku, yeah, the boy did spend a majority of his childhood alone living in the woods and currently modifying his body. He doesn't, he do be like that. He's still very childish. Komugi just had a very isolated childhood, and Ichi grew up in the woods. He was somewhat socialized, but still grew up in the woods. So it makes sense that he's very silly, let's say. He's very silly. And with it being the case, we see that ultimately Gokuraku realizes the only problem is revving that up to fire is gonna take a sec. And naturally Komugi's like, an ultra attack? Didn't you just reveal that flamethrower thing wasn't a joke? What do you mean an ultra attack? And naturally, as Gokuraku goes to think like, how am I gonna let myself cook? We see that Sammy says, "How many seconds will you need at minimum?" And Gokuraku goes, 5 seconds. 5 seconds till the end. And we see that Jikichirone, or Sammy, says, "Okay, I'll find them for you." And that is, like, still very, and obviously, I think the most impressive thing about this is that she's promising this with no guarantee it could actually happen. Like, she's hoping that she can do this, and she's willing to, considering we know the drawbacks of her ability. And specifically the drawbacks of the ability on her host, which you know she has a deep fondness for. It is very interesting to see her development, and that's why I really like the character now. As she says, "You hold off their attacks, and I'll collect all the prophecies I can, and pull our 5 seconds for victory from the future. I'll tell you exactly when and where to use them, so I need you to do exactly as I say. Understood?" And and we see Gokuraku be like, "Oh, you lucky I need you to live right now. Oh, you lucky I need you to live. Don't wanna, but fine." And she's like, "Speak up, you stupid magic hater." And to be fair, Jikichirone, Sammy, you may not have full context for that man hates magic so much, but I do like this reluctant team up. A Magic who didn't care about humans and a human who didn't care about Magic being forced to work together in order to transcend this challenge of an extremely powerful Magic who doesn't care about humans, right? Ultimately, it is through their differences that they're able to bring their strengths together and create this future together. And we see that ultimately Jikichirone is spamming these future sites, and notably her Mirasam, her ability, is going to take a toll on her. As she says, 2 o'clock 1, 7 o'clock bomb, 3 o'clock 2, and we see immediately Gokuraku goes into challenge and neutralize. Remember, he is just neutralizing. He's not able to overcome these individual Kizashis, which is a great way to still reinforce that Kizashi is definitely levels upon levels upon levels above our current crew. If, in fact, this is the best case scenario for them, if they were fighting the full Kizashi, they'd be fried. Like, remember that massive bomb that Kizashi did? It seems like these guys are only capable of it with extreme special conditions, just like Gokuraku. But in this case, we see that they are putting the pressure on Gokuraku, and Jikichirone is specifically forced to keep calling prophecies. And she goes, 4 o'clock 1, 9 o'clock bomb, find the best 5 seconds, 11 o'clock 2, and the explosions are going off around them. Oh, actually, wait, no, Kabuki is driving. Never mind, I didn't even notice that. Kabuki is driving my goat. I didn't even realize. So wait, she's the one. Okay, so yeah, Kamugi's goated. Never mind. She's even more good with the sauce. She's even more good with the sauce. I didn't realize Kamugi was driving. I thought it was Gokuraku driving. But no, they is a true 3-man team here. Gokuraku is free flying while connected to the aircraft. But no, Kamugi is driving, and she's the one who's also listening to commands. So this is giga amazing, legendary, juicy. Make every character important and make the teamwork, dream work. This is that Osamu Nishi special, bro. This is that, hey, if I introduce a character into a narrative, I promise they're gonna be relevant. And gosh darn it, everyone's relevant. Kamugi's driving, Jiki Shirone's calling out the plays, and Gokuraku is executing the defense, bro. Oh, it's cinema. And we see ultimately none of these instances are, one, enough, and two, the best 5 seconds, right? Because ultimately, you may be able to get 5 seconds, but if you waste the attack or if you whiff, it's not going to be worth it. And it is, once again, a fantastic way to show and establish early on, this is very much a thing, right, that is important to do. Whenever you do establish these future sight powers or these prophecy powers, it's a great way to show that prophecies and fate can be broken. We don't see any of these alternative futures that Jiki Shirone or Sammy is pulling, right? Where presumably these bombs go off, these hits are landed, damage is done. We don't see any of these, but they're consistently being averted. That means through enough precaution and manipulation, fate is not solid in this universe on a small scale or on a macro scale. We saw it in the macro scale, considering the town on that mountain with the World Hater did not disappear. And also, we're now seeing it on the micro scale. Every single interaction with the future is changing the future. The timeline is flexible. Fate is not set in stone. That's a very important thing for the end prophecy, the greater overarching prophecy, that Ichi and the World Hater will either win and wipe out everything, or Ichi will absorb the World Hater and they will both die. That is completely, all of this is showing and setting up that fate is not set in stone, but there is a likely possibility. It's all a matter of probabilities and a pseudo multiverse thing rather than an actual reality. And we see that ultimately using and summoning all these prophecies is immediately causing her body to backfire. And this is very interesting, right? Because this is presumably an interaction based on constitution, right? We know Sammy or Mirsam possessed Jiki Shirone, the witch, who already had a poor constitution. So I do wonder, right? Say hypothetically, if Sammy was in another body that didn't have physical weakness, would she be able to compensate? Would she be able to do this massive prophecy pull? Obviously, she manages to pull it off for now, but I do genuinely wonder how this is going to work, how this would work on another case. Do I think Jiki Shirone is going to die? As in, the actual host body? No, not necessarily, but it is interesting to set up this drawback and explain and show us how dangerous it can be. Her body's literally breaking down. Which does make me wonder, how is she paying the cost for the future sight ability, right? Because we see that Kamui goes, Master Jiki Shirone! And Jiki Shirone goes, ugh, darn it, accepting too many in a row always sucks. But I've made up my mind. I will protect her. And that's the idea, right? It sucks, but is she paying anything? Once again, going back to Bakugami as an off example, Bakugami, to use his abilities, needed to directly absorb sorrow and despair. That's why towards the end of the arc, he was like, oh, I wasted everything on my trial. Please, princess! Please, Richard, give me despair. But when we think about Uruashi, they didn't seem to require anything to use their ice powers. When we think about Inazuri, didn't require anything to use their lightning powers. In fact, they were spamming them a whole lot. When we think about Origumo, we didn't see much of Origumo, but they seem to be fine in terms of it. They're just getting bullied by Gokuraku. Dingdo, ultimately, all the different modules we've seen, they haven't had, a set power source. So I do wonder, is the prophecy magic the same way? Are they paying something internally to take these in? Is it do they have to sacrifice a piece of their body? I don't know. But it is interesting that it does cause this kickback. And naturally, we see Minerva looking on which I don't blame her. I do not blame her. Notably, I bet to some degree she does sort of blame herself for all this, which is really unfortunate, even though it's far from her fault for falling in love and getting piped down by someone she loves. But with it being the case, we see that Jiki Shirone, or Sammy specifically, looks over to Ichi, who is... Wait, in fact, let me go to the next page. Ichi is still gone, right? Because the poor boy did spam Uro's magic way too quickly. And we see that Sammy admits, with a smile, mind you, as blood leaks from her mouth and from her nose, I chose my side. I'm betting on your future, not the world haters. Ichi Peachy. Which is very sweet, right? I mean, we'll see how well it goes, but it probably will go well. I don't some Nishin Sensei's a creature, but I don't think they're evil. But whatever be the case, it is nice to see Jiki Shirone affirm what we've clearly been able to tell, that she's believing in hope, right? Because that's essentially what Ichi's what Ichi's future versus the World Hater's future is. It's truly like a question of hope versus despair, right? If you want to have hope, you have to believe in Ichi. You have to believe that he's going to overcome the World Hater. He's going to stop the World Hater from destroying everything. Because if you believe in the World Hater, everything dies. And like while we've been getting caveats and like workarounds, we haven't heard any of the nonsense that Kisashi's been spitting from anyone, or no, not Kizashi. The nonsense that Hitsuki's been spitting from anyone but Hitsuki. It gives middle management promising things that upper management would never give you. that's what it sounds like to me. Hitsuki specifically like, oh, my glorious, handsome King Krono, don't you know? Don't you tell? Can't you see? In this world of ours, this perfect world, we'll let your weak wife live, and we'll let some weak people live. The chosen few of this. I don't think so. Based on how the World Hater's been operating, I am fully convinced, even at the end of it all, his purpose is to destroy everything. Not just the weak. No, everything. So that is like signing up for despair. But by siding with Ichi, Shirone is betting on hope, betting on her own future freedoms, betting on her own love with Shirone. That's what Sammy's betting on. And I know y'all gonna be like, well, you don't know if it's love, Pencil. I've read more than enough fic. It's love. I'm not reading too much into it. I've seen. Go to AO3. You will see more than enough Shirone X Sammy stuff. It's not just me. But with it being the case, we see that as Ichi's knocked out, Sammy sees a possibility, and she goes, "Goku, 6 o'clock. Your 5 seconds start now." And immediately, Goku goes to tense up. And we see the 5 seconds starts because ultimately the siblings have decided, man, forget all this nonsense. Forget this. And like, you know what? As a notorious, just hit them hard though. As an individual who 100% believes in the old adage, if they don't go down after the complex stuff, hit them with the simple stuff. I don't even blame them. They said, you're dealing too much with the small bombs, bro. You're dealing too much. And I do love the kiss he has to do. But essentially, sometimes you focus too hard on the complications, the small stuff, the individual things. Man, forget a complex multi-layered strategy. Hit them as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and do enough damage. That's kind of my philosophy in a lot of things in life. And we see even the brothers go with it. As they go, I can't hit the Blackbeard laugh, not properly. But they go, no more zipping around, ducking and dodging us. If we work together, you humans will be flotsam in no time. And like, they aren't wrong. That is a massive explosion they're doing. Once again, look at this. And the time it's taking, they have 5 seconds. Like, remember, Gokuraku has 5 seconds to build this up. And they're even working together. They're pouring this power together. Meanwhile, Kizashi made an even bigger bomb and explosion in like 2 seconds. Like, Krono had to literally immediately react and go take care of that instantly. Because it didn't take 5 seconds. Kizashi is so much more powerful than his clone. That's why I say if the real Kizashi, if their situations were flipped and it was Krono fighting the clones and it was the real Kizashi hunting them, they'd be fried. But we see, and actually Kabuki and Manurva are like, what? Because obviously they can't see the future. But naturally, we see that the countdown, or the count up, not countdown, starts as it goes 1, 2, Gokuraku pulls back, and then we see that Sammy says, don't stop! Trust me! But like, whoops. I think the thing I like about this the most, she doesn't actually say it. It's a look that they share. Gokuraku looks back at Sammy. Sammy looks at Gokuraku. And in that moment, they have an exchange of direct faith. And we see that the instant both the thick one and the chunky one go to destroy everything, they say, time to die, humans! And Kabuki hugs on Manurva, essentially acting as a body shield. Shout out to Kabuki, dog. So goated. Immediately, everything freezes. Specifically, the ball freezes. The twins freeze. And Gokuraku is even like, wait, what? And immediately Kamuki's like, oh, we are about to die. Minerva, look, that spell, they paused. And now Minerva looks on and is like, oh, when they said he was a epic mom, I didn't think my husband was this strong. As Sammy proudly points out. And this is, now you think about it, it's only just hitting me that both Sammy and Krono have direct interactions with time in the future and stuff like that. Well, to be fair, it feels like Krono definitely more so has control over the present and maybe a bit of the past, while Sammy has direct control, or if not direct control, but connections to the future. So two magics based in time, having interesting dynamics with humans, how specific. But she says, from all the way back there too, talk about a ridiculously powerful magic. And we see a certain individual miles, and remember, they are hundreds upon hundreds of miles away, mind you. So Krono's range is massive. Krono, so JJK. But we see that all those miles back, we cut back to Krono, who's holding, specifically pointing out, and we see everything around him is frozen in time. And specifically, the staff of the World Hater, I forget what it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go lie. I forget what it's called. Funnily enough, I did it in the original video too. I forgot what it's called. I didn't look it up. But essentially, all the clones of Kizashi, and even Kizashi himself, are all frozen in place as Krono shakes to maintain this many pauses. While weakened, mind you, he is still nerfed, but he is actually able to pull it off, holding everything still. And we see Krono make a declaration. Minnie is the only one I trust. But if they chose to risk their lives in order to protect her, then perhaps I can trust them with a moment of my time. And that's some goated stuff. That's some juicy stuff. That's fantastic. I do love that Krono, a person who's been innately distrustful of like literally everything around him, and really only does love and care for him, which is to protect his wife. Seeing that these people, especially knowing what has transpired in Krono's life, very specifically the idea of the fragility of time. The idea that he sees these people with limited lives, with limited lifespans, with these humans being willing to give their everything. These other people giving their everything for the woman he loves. He's like, yeah, okay. I'll get, like, essentially it's Krono being like, I'll gamble on you. You guys have earned my trust and respect, and I'll help you in this moment since I see you're struggling. And he does, and he opens up the time bubble just enough for Gokuraku to get in where he can fit in, let's say. As Gokuraku goes, 5 seconds exactly to the end. And he immediately lunges in and goes, twin arm repeater armor activation complete. And you know what his ultimate move is? Beating the ever-loving snot. Octo Rush, beating the ever-loving snot out of whatever he's facing. Essentially, he's rocket punching them over and over and over and over and over, brutalizing them dramatically. And notably, it is pretty darn effective, as these combos are enough to reduce both their life counters to 0 and destroy them entirely. Very, very impressive. That means, considering, you can even see the quote-unquote ice, or the stones that empower Gokuraku bursting out of his arms and his flesh, or in this case just the mechanical arm, showing how much power that did take and how much of his own power he's likely drained. And that means, like, let me even count how many punches there are here. Is it exactly 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I want to recount. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, I'm gonna assume they're 20. All right, I'm gonna make a guess, even though I'm not counting properly. I didn't even notice that you can see like the glowing signal and the I keep calling it ice just because that's what it looks like, but the special stone from Kagami empowering him. But that means each one of these individual punches was enough to take an entire life, showing just how powerful Gokuraku is in this advanced mode as he viciously violates them. And we see Jiki and go, "Ha! Yeah!" And they immediately all scream in joy and happiness. Even Krono smiles. Isn't this all going so well? Oh no. And you know what? Unironically, I am confident. Y'all know how much I've been like, do not forget about Pooh. In fact, I can even go back, because luckily enough, I do have my community tab. I have to go so far back, though. I'm going to go so far back to look for it, because it has been a little bit of a minute since I dropped each review. But going back, I specifically made a poll including Pooh. I was like, hey, y'all think it's over? Y'all think everything's gonna be all right, or do you think Pooh's gonna clutch up? And I think a lot of y'all actually did align with your boy here. Let me see. Darn, has it really been that long, bro? Yeah, it was well over a month ago. Ichithewitch fans, let me know. Do you think Gokuraku will be able to clutch up against the remaining brothers, or do you think he's gonna be caught lacking? Pick a choice. A lot of y'all. Wait, I had it backwards. Only 17% of y'all said he should be wary of the strongest. None of y'all were seeing the vision. None of y'all were seeing the vision like I was. I saw the vision. So what happens next chapter? I called it. I hope someone picked up that. I called it. But of course, this chapter. That was weak. Hold on, let me redraw that. Oh, I forgot to pre-draw. No. See, this is what happens. I'm out of practice. But this is the pre-draw. And that's the actual draw. There we go. But yeah, absolutely W chapter. It's fantastic to see, like I mentioned earlier, it is truly teamwork makes a dream work on every single level. It is Komugi driving, Manurva holding on to Komugi. It is Jiki Shirone / Sammy using her abilities to their limits even at the cost of her own physical form. It is Gokuraku maneuvering appropriately with every single one of these commands. It is the commands coming out in time and being reacted to by all parties involved in order to defend against the clones. It is the teamwork and the utilization of Krono in the end to act as the facilitator for the 5 seconds to come to completion in order for Gokuraku to take the clones down. It is beautiful. Beautiful. It is cinema to see everything fall into place just the right way. It's so good. It's so amazing. I sure hope nothing bad happens next chapter. I sure hope nothing bad happens next chapter. But overall, an amazingly W chapter. Now, I wonder what could go on next. Luckily enough, we have 2 more chapters to review. Let's go on to chapter 67. "17% of y'all, huh? 17% of y'all only saw the vision? It was only 101 votes. So literally 17 of y'all saw the vision. Y'all were with me. Y'all were with me. You knew we should have been beware. You knew we should have beware the strongest there is. The strongest there is, whose condition now is complete." But we see in chapter 67, the 67th hunt. In fact, I'll pre-draw for this one. Chapter 67, the 67th hunt. That's 1 second. And we see everyone celebrating, everyone's working together because no one noticed the goat. And we see that even Krono, while still, like, mind you, still flexing and holding the rest of the Kizashi clones, including the main Kizashi, looks at a mirror and sees everyone all, like, congratulating, working together. We see Manurva worrying over Gokuraku. We see Komugi congratulating Gokuraku. We see Manurva looking shocked and worried, but smiling at Sammy, showing like, wow, you really did that for me. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful moment of connection. And we even see Krono smile. It looks like he's smiling a little bit, seeing his wife safe. But then suddenly, there's a... And naturally, Krono looks like, hey, what are we doing? And he turns over to the 4 clones that he's meant to consolidate, or the 3 remaining clones, and the main Kizashi that's consolidated into one singular bubble. And we see Kizashi say, "See? I knew it! You're amazing! Awesome, incredible, thick, juicy, feathery, soft, just like you've always been." I'm sorry, I don't know why I made Kizashi so. But just like you've always been, Krono. Pausing my little brothers, even though they're over 100 miles. It's only 100, but over 100 miles away. All keeping us tied up too. And that is the crazy thing, right? He is still wielding this half of the wall hitter. He still is holding on to that, but he's not breaking through the time bubble. And he is glazing right now, right? Like, and obviously, good reason to. Chrono Weaver is another Magic that is kind of... he is too powerful to be captured. There are some abilities where I'm like, don't give them to your protagonist. Give them to antagonists and make your protagonist right. There's some... That's the present writing narrative. With a variety of characters, with a variety of powers and heritages that provide them those powers. Like, I flirted with the idea of giving my characters some sort of time interaction, but I've kept it at that. Like, they have a limited time interaction in a specific context by using their powers in a specific way. Like, for example, one of my characters in my own story has control over gravity. So, like, one thing they'll do, they'll abuse, like, gravity directly affecting the time flow of certain things. Like, one of their attacks is they create something very akin to a black hole by forcing a whole bunch of mass into one thing, throw it at somebody, and then they throw that person out into the depths of space and start spinning them really, really fast around that thing, essentially forcing them to accelerate through time by manipulating gravity, because gravity works that way. Another character has control over cold things, or the ability to manipulate cold. So one thing that they'll do is they will legit freeze somebody down, essentially to freeze them in time, quote unquote, but they don't actually do that. Because giving my actual characters time powers is too much. It's too much. Because they're too strong. And that's the same thing for Ichi the Witch here. I'm assuming Osamu Nishi Sensei, as cracked and powerful as our current crew is, didn't want to actually give them time powers, or, gamma powers, so I don't think either of the models should be captured. I don't even think the reverse magic is. I don't think Hitsugi's going to be captured either. He's still too strong. But, with it being the case, we see Kizashi glazing, and we love some glaze, but we gotta remember, when things go too well, and a certain goat is slept on, bad things can happen, man. Bad things in it. And we see that Kizashi goes, "I've never seen you pull off anything like that, though. Even though we played together a lot, I knew the real you was the most powerful ever." And that still raises so many questions. When did you meet the World Hater? Are you a 7-star bard? Were you recruited over like a virtual interview, bro? When did you meet the guy? Because there's no, now especially seeing that just his staff is enough to negate Krono's time bubbles. Like, how is he not the strongest? How is he not? Like, Brody, what are you talking about? But I guess, like, the strongest is interactable. I highly doubt Kizashi would have fought. Or, like, if he did fight, I doubt the World Hater gave him the time of day. It may have been a case. Here's the thing. It may genuinely be a case where the World Hater is so much stronger than Kizashi that Kizashi attacked him and it didn't do anything. And the World Hater just stood there. And I was like, you're going to keep doing this? And, he essentially never gave Kizashi the time of day. Where Krono is insanely powerful. And ultimately, by responding and actually communicating with him, he did give him the time of day. Maybe that's it. Because otherwise, I'm most powerful ever? Ever? I don't know, man. You know, it's that for holding. But with it being the case, we see Krono flying there and being like, Brody, I just want to live with my wife, bro. I just want to live with my wife. And hey, I also would like to live with my wife. But with it being the case, we see that Krono say, you are correct. I've killed you 575 times. You should know full well how much more powerful I am than you. And that is a good way to explain where all those lives went. Now that you think about it, though, 575, 900 minus 575. Does that line up with the amount of lives we see Krono have at the start? 320. He was at 324, right? He was at 324. Hold on, let me see. I'm about to do a little mathematical. In fact, you know what I can do? I can probably just look up Kizashi, Ichi, the witch, because I think his initial appearance panel will show how much was on his chest. Yeah, darn. So we've been in this arc for a minute, because we're in chapter 68, and then Kizashi gets introduced in 54. 315. So 575. Oh wait, no. In fact, it's even higher. He started with 999. I did that math wrong. So he should be at somewhere, somehow in between. For Kizashi to show up at the start of the arc with 315, that means we need to do that minus that. Someone did, not Krono. So this is interesting. So there is a reason there's a gap, because for 315 to be left by the time the arc starts, before the Uro interactions, someone killed Kizashi 109 times. Who was that? Was that the World Hater? Was that his? Someone did it. No, 109 times, because that's that missing number there. So I do sit here and genuinely wonder how did that work? Was it maybe like a gap? Because I think Uro took more lives than expected. I forget how that. So maybe like Kizashi can lose multiple lives at once. But I do forget that if Kizashi can lose multiple lives at once, the 575 and the gap with that 109 extra could be some like super deaths that Krono put on Kizashi. But at the same time, those 109 deaths could explain that weird period where he somehow met the World Hater. And like had interactions with him to become one of his 7 stars, had interaction with Hitsugi. Like that could be that. Because otherwise, I don't know where those 109 lives are. But with it being the case, we see, like Krono's like, dude, we've done this song and dance for. What are you talking about? And we see that Krono says, no matter how desperately you try, you will not harm my family. Learn that lesson already. Octobomb. And there is something, and I do how do I put it? Did I say respect? I do understand why Krono is so like, as much as he's already admitted, yeah, I did feel something when I engaged with you prior, but like, dude, I do have a life and wife now. Please chill. Please, like, just give it over with. And he calls him Octo. He doesn't even call him Kizashi by his chosen name. He calls him his classification name. And I get that, right? Because Krono, as much fun as it may have hypothetically been doing all this song and dance with Kizashi, it wasn't something he ever wanted to do, and now particularly he has something he actually wants to live for, which Kizashi just doesn't understand. And we see that Kizashi smiles at him, or at least seemingly forces a smile after this backturn panel, and goes, hey, my name's Kizashi now. And like, where did now the question is, where did that name come from? Did the World Hater name him that? Did his name him that? There's so much about Kizashi that I don't know. And like, I'm literally, if it was any other author, I'd be like, well, maybe not any other. There's some other authors I'm like, they're explicitly hiding this from us. In the same way that I'm saying, I think ultimately, Osamu Sensei is specifically hiding stuff from us because this arc is like, not like an early encounter with maybe a late game boss or like a mid game boss, even when they're still in the early boss territory. Because Osamu Sensei has done a bunch of things in their other major famous manga, Welcome to Demon School of Rumakun, where there's been interactions, and like, this is me who's only read the series cover to cover once, right, and is now just reading weekly, but there's so many things in that narrative that like get set up once or are implied once, like there's history that's gone on in that world, And based on how certain things have been followed up on and how certain things haven't been followed up on yet, even with 400 chapters of, well, Nibisu and Rumakun being set up, I am fully convinced that Osamu Sensei has an explanation for every question I have, and these questions are meant to be asked. And I think we will eventually get an answer. Because what do you mean by your name is Kizashi? No. Who gave it to you? When did you decide it? Let's see. My name's Kizashi now. You're my bestest bud. The strongest ever. You're killing me like you always did. But you've changed from before. This time, you're hurt. You're even bleeding. And that, like, that was interesting. Like, what, it's gonna sound great, but like, is it red? Like, what color is the blood? Like, what kind of blood does a god of time bleed? Right? Like, in Greek mythology, gods specifically have a different type of blood. They have golden ichor. It's like it's a golden liquid. But even gods of that variety can still bleed. I forget, what is the blood of the Norse gods called? What is the blood of the Norse gods called? Is it just blood, or is it? Yeah, there's no specifically names. Okay, so it is a Greek thing. Greek just has ichor. However, special circumstances, the blood of the wise king, honey, create meat of poetry. Okay. Ichor, blood, and other immortals. So Greek gods have ichor, and like specifically for another thing for my universe specifically, I keep referencing it vaguely. I may make a video talking about it because I do want to workshop some of it, a whole lot of it, realistically. I'm like halfway done through the first book. Finally, it's supposed to be like a 15-book series, though, so it's still taking a while. But like essentially, a thing in my universe is that characters have certain ties and connections and bonds with other types of beings, and thusly their blood is different, right? When they're in their like entirely human states, completely disconnected from the magic of their world, they have regular human blood because they are part human. But during other times, they have bloods of different substances. Like one of them bleeds liquid nitrogen, another one of them bleeds gasoline, or essentially not necessarily like literally liquid nitrogen, or not necessarily literally gasoline, but that's what they bleed. One of them bleeds lava. One of them bleeds void. Like it's straight void liquid. Like if you were to chop off their hand and see what comes out, it'd be flat out void liquid. Like it is black liquid speckled with stars. Not gasoline, but that's what they bleed. And I wonder if it's different like that at all for magic, especially a magic of time like Krono. I don't know. But let's see. You're even bleeding. And why is that? Because you protected some dumb humans? You're super powerful. You're perfect. You still got hurt. You're the one who needs to learn a lesson, Krono. Humans make you weak. And like, I would agree. Well, to be fair. Kizashi, in like a literal sense, isn't wrong because Krono is a bit weaker because of his child being born, likely siphoning some direct link to his life force. But at the same time, Kizashi, you can't be him though. You can't like, I don't know. That's like me going up to insert retired, let's say recently retired mixed martial artist of any weight class. Maybe in like, you giving up on your passion made you weak, or you not doing the thing you always did for your life made you weak. And then they immediately whoop me still. Okay, yeah, they're weaker than their pride. They still whoop me though. Kizashi, your record against Krono is 0 to 575. You are not in a negative KD. You're in a giga negative KD. A multi-hundred negative KD, bro. What is all this? Yeah, what is all this hatred for? Hop off, go find somebody, dog. But we see that Krono does realize this. He even looks at his hands and shakes as he realizes something's off. And notably, this quivering doesn't even seem to be a direct link because of he himself, like in this moment. But actually, let's say the moving around a very heavily pregnant woman a whole lot, it's not the best thing to do if you don't want the baby to come out. Because immediately, Minerva goes, ah! As everyone's celebrating, and actually Kamugi's like, Minerva, are you okay? And Kamugi's immediately able to tell, remember this woman did actually have medical training before, being forced into research. She's like, oh, her water's breaking. And yeah, she is heavily pregnant. So of course this would be the time where she's literally about to give birth. And naturally everyone there is like, on the ship, like I've heard of giving birth in the back of cars. I've heard of giving birth in like at home, over the open ocean, huh? And of course, going into labor doesn't immediately mean giving birth, right? Like technically Minerva isn't about to, like, it can happen sometimes. Like I've heard stories of women going in heavily pregnant and then they like go into labor automatically, like their water breaks, and then they like give birth 2 seconds later. Sometimes labor takes like multiple hours though. So like it's not to me guaranteed that Minerva's gonna pop something out. But at the same time, human Magic hybrid. We don't know how this is going to go. And naturally, it seems like the actual birth, the spawning of their child, is having some sort of direct impact on Krono. And naturally, as everyone looks on confused, they are very, very worried. And I do love Gokuraku's reaction the most. But we'll really, I love both Gokuraku and Jijiro's reaction. But very specifically Gokuraku, as I forget, I'm not even sure who says water, and who he says anyway. She's going into labor, and naturally Sammy, a magic ghost thing who doesn't get born. Magics aren't usually born; they seem to just be manifested. She's like, what? Hold on, the baby's being born like right now? And Gokuraku's like, you're kidding me, just like that. His reaction tickles me so much. He's like, I can't even bask in the glory of my awesomeness, dog. What do you mean she's about to give birth? And Minerva, oh poor Minerva, says, sorry. It's like, you don't control that, Minerva, you're fine. And naturally, I wonder if Sammy has like any experience at all, considering she's been around for a while, presumably, with like birth and stuff like that. She's like, whoa, don't try to talk. And naturally, Gokuraku is, I'm not even sure if it's Gokuraku or Sammy, but Gokuraku and Sammy both are like, what's happening? And I think Sammy says, what do we do? We'll be born like, now? Right here? And Gokuraku's like, it won't be this minute. No, probably. But wait, what if a human magic hybrid? Then who knows? Maybe? And naturally, Komugi is the adult in this situation. And she takes a deep breath and casts Heal Light on Minerva, who is currently going into labor, and essentially is the one to stabilize Minerva in this moment. And this is fantastic, right? It was set up well, and I did mention this way back when. Multiple things are being called up this chapter that I placed, but Komugi was mentioned to be studying medical magic before she was forced into the research side of things, and it's clear that her ability to use Heal Light here, or Healite, I'm probably Heal Light, Healite, whatever. This magic spell is from her medical training that was mentioned well before. I believe it was unironically in the arc, right before this in the Speak arc, that she studied medical magic originally. And she reminds us, I used to study medical magic. I can at least alleviate some of her pain. And we see both two people who've never even thought about birth being like, oh, fantastic. And we see that Komugi explains, also, the wind and rain are my real concerns. And we see that Sammy she is capable in some sort of magic, but obviously it's mostly her own, and she says, oh, me, I know some protection spells. And Gokuraku's like, what do I do? He's like, these hands are not made for delivering babies. And naturally, Komugi's like, drive! Try to keep us as smooth and steady as possible. And Gokuraku's like, got it! And Sammy says, hang in there, you can do this! If only they taken care of my goat. If only they take care of my goat. Well, to be fair, they had no idea the goat was around. They had no idea. As instantly, first, Komugi says, pulse and temperature are normal. Shoutouts to whatever medical training they did, because, Komugi, considering Ichi's like Did I make up that Ichi being 15 thing? I'm pretty sure I did. Hold on. Ichi. Let's just go Ichi the Witch. Is that boy 15? He's 15, right? Does he not have where did I get 15? I could have sworn that boy was 15. Hold on. I know he's alive, but he's only 5'5", 132 pounds, soaking wet. Is he not 15? Hold on. How old is Ichi the Witch, bro? Am I stupid? Am I dumb? How old? Because I know, maybe, I think I'm conflating Aruma's age. But I think Aruma turned 15 recently. He was 14. But hold on. How old is Ichi the Witch? Does he not have an age? Am I ooped? So is Ichi high school age? No, he doesn't have, I don't know where I got 15 from. Between Rudy Creed estimates, likely between 14 and 17 years old, as actually explicitly stated in the manga, he's referred to as kid or young cadet, placing him in the young teenager. So, essentially, Kumogi's not an adult, right? And she only studied magical magic for a short period before being forced to research. The fact that she's at all ready to help someone give birth, W's medical student. But we see that CHRO, who had stopped focusing on the future, says, good, other things we can do are... And instantly, she shivers and turns and sees a certain individual. A certain goat, if you will. A certain small a little guy with one whole life goes, pooh! Ah! And instantly, now I'm not sure if CHRO saw a future here, or if Sammy saw a future here, or if she could just sense something was off with his magical levels. as it goes, oh, and instantly, she's like, Sammy goes, Goku, crush that thing! But unfortunately, it's just too late. And the tiny little eggshell, essentially, splits open, and from it grows this thing! What? What? When I tell, okay, to give you, like, I'm not gonna pop off as much because I'm not gonna force it. But when I tell you when I initially read the live reaction and this happened, like, here's the thing: I expected Pooh to be dumb, stupid, strong, just because like it felt random if he wouldn't be, and just knowing someone Ichi Sensei. But for it to transform into this basic Eldritch monster, not on my bingo card. He's bigger and scarier than the original Kizashi. What? But no, but he still has the one in his head. So hypothetically, if they were to one-shot him, if they were to have paid attention, they actually would have just beaten him immediately, presumably. Unless this thing was inside and like popping it, like they may have accidentally popped this thing early. And we see that Komugi is face-to-face with the thing as she tries to protect Manurva. And naturally, in the face of this eldritch horror, she freezes in terror. As I would. I'd probably fall off the darn boat. Or the darn comet boat. But we see that we get a little bit of context, a little bit of backstory, a little bit of history and existence on Pooh. As the narrator says, this is Pooh. Pooh is the littlest of the Kizashi brothers, kind and gentle. Pooh loves his brothers more than anything, but deep down he hides a special secret. When his brothers die, his grief drives him insane, and the monster inside of him goes berserk. So, the one critique I have with this, and this is something I came to, I was too busy freaking and geeking and popping off and nearly hitting backflip. Okay, I'm lying, never nearly hit a backflip, I'd break my neck. But the one critique I have for this is the way the narration describes it. It feels like this shouldn't have happened yet, because we know his other brothers are still alive. Maybe it's like a vicinity thing. It's probably a vicinity thing, like the brothers around him die, but like he like that, like this shouldn't like that. Like if the condition by the narration describes it when his brothers die, like then if here's the thing, you can't have it both ways. Either the second the first brother died and got eaten by Gokuraku like 3 chapters ago or 4 chapters ago, then it should have popped out then, right? Because the brother died. But like, you know what? No, it's brother singular. It's brother singular when his brothers die. So plural. So maybe it's meant to be like once a couple brothers die, this happens. Because otherwise, it does feel mad random that it waited until this instant to tweak out and transform. I mean, like, sure, very cool reveal, but Brody. But still, that aside, that one minor nitpick aside, oh yeah, this thing's actually monstrous and bestial. And notably, it actually is crazy, but I guess it makes sense since the whole goal is to slaughter Manurva in particular. But it immediately goes for Komugi, bro. It literally wraps around the comet, immediately crushing, what like looks like side-swiping Jigishirone, crushing and burying a tentacle, a hook tentacle, mind you, directly into Komugi. And remember, Gokuraku's supposed to be driving. Gokuraku's not here right now. So Komugi gets sent flying with a hit to the gut. And instantly, Gokuraku does manage to save her before she falls directly into the water. Notably, though, I am genuinely like Komugi Durafeet, unironically. Pooh a pillow puncher? Because remember, it looks like all of his tentacles are like clawed, but Komugi doesn't even take any piercing damage. That may just be a case of like Komugi not being the character to take piercing damage, but still, unironically, Durafeet, as Gokuraku does recover her. And we see that Pooh does hold on, but the narration continues. Pooh only has one life. But his creation took 10 of Kizashi's lives. Why is that? Because packed into his teeny body is the power of 10 brothers. Now remember, 2 brothers in last chapter to make an explosion that was nearly as big as Kizashi's. 10 of Kizashi's lives. All 10 brothers. Yeah, he's at least 5 times as powerful as that massive bomb that they had last chapter. So yeah, he's undeniably monstrous. And since he's undeniably monstrous, he completely violates Gokuraku, right? Remember, Gokuraku, I mentioned this in last review, they were lucky that they were fighting the brothers and not the main Kizashi. The main Kizashi is exponentially, maybe not exponentially, but multiple times more powerful than the individual brothers. And with that being the case, now that we have one that is the culmination of 10 brothers all at once, another thing that's massively more powerful than the brothers, especially while defending Komugi, a non-combatant, of course Gokuraku gets absolutely annihilated in the instant. And this is also where the narrator goes into overconfidence, carelessness, panic, fear. ultimately, the issue with CHRO only taking short-term prophecies is that she didn't see this. She didn't know it was possible. If she did, maybe she would have been able to tell Gokuraku, wait, maybe not this 5 seconds, single out Pooh, destroy him first. But because she was so focused on the short term, not on the future long term, this does happen. And notably, I don't think this is going to be retconned as like a time, like I'll see what 68 does, but this whole chapter doesn't feel like a bad timeline thing that's going to get like flipped. I think this is what genuinely happened. And we see Gokuraku get his back blown out, Komugi seemingly pass out immediately, Sammy scream in fear, as instantly not even the remnants, just Pooh itself goes into absolutely impale and destroy a in labor Manurva. And the narration clearly claims, and notably, one detail I do want to highlight that is very important. From the very beginning, Pooh is crying. Right? I'm not saying feel bad for Pooh. Pooh's just still a monster. But like, you can see in every single panel, once it fully manifests, it's crying tears for its brothers. It's sad, and it's still crying. It's attacking, but it's still crying, and it has veins pulsing out of its head, and it's still crying all the way to the end. And it even cries as it goes to slaughter Manurva. Big, wet tears over the fate of its brothers. Do I feel bad for it? No. But like, this is a true, unironically, this is a true reflection of what Kizashi really is. Unbelievable power, unbelievable destructive capabilities, undying and unending malice, and sadness for only itself and those that surround it, not understanding the whims and cares of others. And we see immediately Manurva does get stabbed directly in the back, presumably instantly executing her. And her last word is "Crow," as Pooh cries. And then instantly, this is why I'm unsure how this is gonna go, because we instantly enter a flashback of Manurva, very much presumably a life flashing before her eyes moment. When I awoke from the darkness that day, you were there. I go back in time to see the first meeting, at least I presume the first meeting, of Krono Weaver, Crow, and Manurva. What are you? In your eyes, I saw a world of loneliness. I hope she's not too young when they first met. That's kind of weird, but still. W chapter. Like, let's not mince our words here. This is a me. And he may be like, "What do you mean this is a me? We just tapped the pig." But like, no, hold on. It's me because everything here. Well, to be fair, like Pooh being super crazy, giga strong. I guess now that I think about it, no. Even Pooh being super crazy giga strong is good if you were paying super attention. I was only paying attention on like the surface level, like, hey, it's kind of weird that this Pooh thing's running around, and it is noted to be a thing, but it seems really tiny and weird. It's probably dumb, stupid, strong, and is actually the secretly strongest of the brothers. Is gonna do something crazy. So like that was set up if you were paying attention. But if you were super paying attention, you would have noticed the number discrepancy, which I didn't. I didn't realize that Pooh took 10 of Kizashi's lives. I didn't notice that. So obviously all that power being packed into one Pooh, as we saw, he only had one life, but everyone else had multiple. That's a really good way to set that up organically in the arc. And like obviously, when everything goes too well, something has to go wrong. And we got to remember, this is still early series, right? So ultimately, it makes sense that our cast and crew would make such major mistakes. These mistakes costing Manurva and the baby's life, I'm not sure about. And like, this is definitely a case of, do I think Osamu Nishi-sensei has the gall? I don't think so. I don't think they have the gall. So I'm very interested to see what happens in chapter 68. So let's not waste any more time. And let's hop right into it. Ah! Let's hang out, look in a book, reading rainbow. Alright, so let me hit the pre-draw for this one as well. Chapter 68, The Ebb and Flow of the Waves. I wonder if this is going to be a full flashback chapter. Are we not? And like, don't get me wrong, as much as engaged as I am in this specific whole interaction and stuff like that, I am still definitely like horrifically terrified of my baby girl's fate. What's happening with Descaron's, bro? Get back! It's been like 3 chapters, please. But let's see. Or no, it's been like 4. Let's see. Manurva was born in a quiet little fishing village. The nearby seas were placid, and the villagers were genial. It was a normal rural hamlet with nothing special about it. Oh! Okay. Alright. Except that one part where they offer a human sacrifice to the sea every 50 years. Yeah, so she was a child. I mean, like, maybe she's just petite. I hope she didn't meet Kizashi when she was a kid, and then Kizashi raised it. I mean, like, I guess, like, no matter what, Kizashi's dumb, or not Kizashi, Krono Weaver's dumb old. It's like when you think, as much as I am fine, as I'll admit, I'm so mixed on. The end of Heroes of Olympus is something that I've always felt conflicted about since I read it. Blood of Olympus, especially considering how much of a banger Mark of Athena is, how much of a banger. I know a lot of people didn't like Lost Hero. I think Lost Hero's a banger. I'm gonna say, I think Lost Hero's a banger. But as much as a banger as Son of Neptune is just a banger. Like, that's a widely believed banger. But CHRO or Percy Jackson were the main characters in that book with one of the main narration points. And even as much as I did like House of Hades was crazy. Crazy. Blood of Olympus, I have a lot of issues with it. And one of my main issues is the defeat of Gaia. And one of my main issues with the defeat of Gaia is that Leo gets to live, right? Maybe if Leo just died, I'd be like, sacrifice needed. But, like, no. Leo lives and gets Calypso. But, like, when you think about it, Calypso's really old. Like, flirted with and tried to get with Odysseus old. Like it's real. Like, it's weird. And it's like one of those things where, like, ancient creatures just like, no matter what, it is always just gonna be weird. But, like, did she have to be a child? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she's not meant to be a child. Maybe she's meant to be, like, extremely deep. Yeah, I don't know. But let's see. Well, they offer human sacrifice to the sea every 50 years. Oh, God of time, benevolent God of time. Why are they worshiping Krono? Let's see. We're so sorry about this, Minerva, but you're the only young woman. Young woman. Don't call her a girl. She looks really small here. For the sake of my sanity. For the sake of my sanity, I'm gonna say she's an adult. I like. Somebody she's. I'll be like. For the sake of my sanity, we're gonna say she's a full-grown adult here. Because I hope. I mean, like, to be fair, child sacrifice is not a thing that like has not happened in history. It still happens to this day, unfortunately. But, like, did it have to be a child? Let's see. We're so sorry about this, Minerva, but you're the only young woman with no set family or set job. Heaven forbid a young woman not be married or work. Let's see. Please, we need you to be the sacrifice. Ride the Utsurabune? 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 Akuna Matata? I don't know. The Utsubune to the time god. Utsurabune. Bune, whatever. A boat made from hollowed out log. Once closed, it can only be opened from the out. So they just started to die! Okay. And so, whenever it was enclosed in the Utsurabune, and sent bobbing on her way to the stretches of the curse, to the far stretches of the cursed sea. How do you even know this word? Well, you know what, though? I forget where I heard it. But, like, as someone very aptly put, if you saw a volcano erupt back before you knew why volcanoes erupt, you would probably assume it was hungry, too, and throw a person in there. Or something in that. Like sacrifice, when you don't understand at all how nature works, yeah, this was a very rural, isolated fishing village. They probably had no idea. Well, like, but then again, like, who started it? Like, what is this for? It's just, they just do it every 50 years. Not for, like, they offer human sacrifice to the sea. Like, who started, what freak? What freak started that at the start of this village? Why? Let's see. And sent her bobbing on her way to the stretches of the cursed sea. Krono's like, King, what? Very, very elaborate log, though. That's not just hollowed out log. Must be a very big log, too. Let's see. What are you? Well, human, for one. Let's see. The pendulum seas aboard the chronostasis. Very interesting that he even, like, went out and retrieved that. But I guess, and then, you know what, though, that does actually raise a question. Where did you get the boat? That must have to do something with his trial, right? Like, where on earth where did you get the boat? I thought the boat was going to have something to do with their backstory. But no. The chronostasis is just Krono's boat. Did he build it himself? Did it spawn in with him? There must be something to do with it. Well, I doubt we'll ever find out. That's one of those things where, like, it's probably, there is a reason, but, like, I don't think somebody she says is ever going to tell us. It's not like Ali and Welcome to Demon School Rumakun, where like it's kind of obvious what Ali is, but we just don't know how Ali came into existence. I genuinely don't have a lick of a clue just on why he is a boat. Let's see. Other than like it probably has something to do with his trial, and we'll never figure that out because we're not going to capture Krono. Let's see. Why was a human inside this box? So that means either Kizashi or the other previous sacrifice just died because Krono seemingly has been here for a while. Let's see. Yeah, it's true. I'd be coughing too if I was stranded in a box. Let's see. Oh, rewind. Interesting. So he uses the power to restore her. All right, very nice. In fact, was she? No, they even put her in like they even put her in all jacked up. So like, what? I wonder how he reminded her. But let's see. Rewind, and now she's fresh. Yeah, she seems okay. I'm gonna guess she was just very petite and was drawn very young looking here, and in last chapter, because like these two moments don't look that far apart. So like I'm assuming like this looks more grown woman ish. So I'm gonna assume she's like just tiny. I know tiny people. A woman who's older than me is like 100 pounds soaking wet, and I could throw her over my shoulder very easily. That may just be Manurva. Let's see. The time god. Oh gosh, are you really them? You really exist? I mean, that is like, there are some things, like, that just are, and we kind of just gotta accept that they are. Like, gravity, when you describe it to people at first, like, or if you just describe the idea that we're all tied down to this rock because it's so much bigger than us that we can't escape the pull of the rock, like, it is crazy, but that's how gravity works. You describe the flow of time to somebody, and, like, yeah, I guess it is like, something that always moves forwards, and so far as we know, it can never go back. Like we... As much as science has progressed and evolved and we understand the world, like we don't get why gravities. Like we understand it, we can replicate it, we find ways to negate it and work around it, and we know kind of sort of the source. Well, we know the source of it, and we even somewhat understand how like gravity impacts time and space and stuff like that. But like, in the general grand scheme of things, we don't know why time only moves forward. It's kind of just an observation we made, and we realized we gotta live with that. We don't know why gravities, but kind of just like how the world works. Like it's stripping back those questions, right? Like the Big Bang Theory, for example. Like we know through carbon dating and stuff like that, and just like looking, I forget how it's discovered, but like the Big Bang. We can trace it all, like we can trace the universe back to its origin based on like the expansion rate and stuff like that. Like there's so many scientific ways and reasons and logic to why like we know start of the universe stuff, how that stuff works. We can make some shake. We don't know what was there before. We don't even fully understand what banged as far as I know. And I was recently on like a whole like science kick again. Even still, like, videos and articles I've seen that come out as recent as, like, last year, we understand the Big Bang was a thing. We don't know why the Big Bang, though. Like, there are things that are just so crazy and vague. So I don't even blame them for being like, you really exist? Like, their belief in hypothetical time, guys. Like, how else would you explain it? Like, some stuff just doesn't make sense. Let's say, I'm a sacrifice from the village, so please calm the sea. Okay, so it is the typical. Oh no, the seas are angry. Gotta feed gotta feed a person to it. That's basically like if you look at it, a lot of human sacrifice. If it wasn't just like I don't like this person, let's sacrifice them. It truly was X nature thing we don't understand is angry. Let's feed people to it, which always makes you wonder like what if it didn't work? Like what if you threw a person into a volcano and the volcano erupted again? Like, what, was it the wrong person? You sacrificed another person? You just give up. Let's see. Calm the seas and, since I'm a sacrifice, are you going to eat me? I recall that moment clearly. The look on their face said, what a pain in my butt. Which doesn't get only confirms to me. Either Krono hasn't been here for all that long, or, like, the other sacrifices every 50 years prior just died. They like I wonder if we reach a local. I mean, to be fair, wood dissolves after a while, especially in salt water, no less. But like how many sacrifices went out there and died? Because like literally this is Krono's first time actually interacting with a sacrifice from the village. I'll say know what it was, but like genuinely, that's crazy to think how many people just lost their lives before Manurva. Let's see. Krono told me to wait for now, and that he would return me to the closest harbor in due time. Which is very nice of Krono. That means he would, like, leave. He would take his boat and actually go somewhere. But clearly, we know he doesn't do that. Let's see.
Kizashi has been loitering nearby. Them finding you is an annoyance I don't need.
Which, I guess that's it. Like, he could just throw her to Kizashi, but clearly, Krono does have at least some respect for life, right? Especially considering the fact that even when he first meets our cast, he simply... and just gets them off his boat. Like, he doesn't want to be interacted with. He's like, leave me alone. So, that's the same case here, where he's like, I don't actually want people to perish. They'll perish to the flow of time eventually anyway. Just leave me be. And that's the same case here. He doesn't want her to die to Kizashi. He just doesn't want her here either. Let's see. Kizashi? So Kizashi had been given the name well before Krono actually met Manurva. We'll see.
A pest with the habit of popping in and out of nowhere and annoying me. They often leave flotsam behind. Your boat was in their latest haul.
Oh! 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 So it is Kizashi's fault. so the raging sea deity that they think is out there is Kizashi. And Kizashi just blows up. So yeah, all those previous sacrifices from the boat for every 50 years is that was Kizashi blowing them up. And I guess in this case, Kizashi didn't blow up the wood or blow up the boat when he saw it. He just thought it was a piece of wood, so he just threw it with the rest of the haul. Alright, interesting. So that's probably why the boat was beaten up. It's just Kizashi throwing it.
And your boat was in the latest haul. They truly are the most aggravating annoyance there is.
I love how Manurva immediately contextualizes this as a friend, maybe? And like, I don't know, it's funny. Like, I think of, I do love to rage bait and gaslight and occasionally gatekeeping girl boss my friends. And it is a hobby. I'll admit it's a bit of a hobby. I do dabble. I do dabble in the wiggle fingers in front of their face. You mad? Hey, put that thing down. Like, I get it. A little bit of rage bait never hurt nobody. That's a lie. That's very much a lie. But regardless, I get why Minerva's like, a friend? Because, friends, hey, your friend doesn't annoy you on occasion. Are they really your friend? Or really are they acquaintance? If you only have positive relations with someone, are they really your friend? But let's see.
I could rewind time to the point where you're back in your village, but affecting things beyond simple objects, like the entire sequences of events, requires an extreme amount of energy.
So wait, even Krono has it. So they do have energy. They do have, like, a pool of energy. How do they refill? Do they eat? Did Krono eat when Minerva... I don't know. Let's see. But it's interesting, though. So he can do stuff like that. He can fully undo sequence. Okay, so she'll be fine. Alright, so he's probably just going to rewind her. That's fine. And he did mention he could literally stop her time before. So I guess even though Minerva did get pierced last chapter, I presume Krono is going to simply undo the sequence of events. Maybe take it all the way back to before Pooh even spawns, and then have Gokuraku slaughter Pooh first, and then take care of the other brothers. We'll see.
Requires an extreme amount of energy.
It turned out that our time god was a magic that could manipulate time. They were an incredible person who could do all kinds of things little human me couldn't imagine. And they were also kind of a slacker.
I mean, like, when you have all the time in the... Like, I think about it like this. If someone told me, oh, BCWs, you're immortal. Like, you have all the time. Like, I guess I'd still do things. I still definitely do things for the love of the game. But I would do them at my own pace. I would probably go on, like, I would do a variety of things, but there probably would be long swaths of my existence where I just... I don't even know if monsters can sleep, but like I would just fill time in other ways. I wouldn't be as active. So I do get why Krono, an extremely ancient and powerful magic, is like, I don't feel like doing anything. Like, man, just let me be, bro. Let me be. I was like,
doing so while leaving your memories intact even more so. And also take up a lot of time on my part.
Which is hilarious considering all the time he has. But let's see.
What are you doing?
Oh, darn. Okay, she's cleaning up well. Let's see.
Cleaning. It's only inside the ship, but it's the least I can do to thank you for letting me stay for a couple days.
Yeah, so she does see more adults. Let's see.
An unnecessary bother. My environs have little effect on me.
Environs? I mean, like, that's a short way to say environment, but, like, it's rare I hear that, environs. Is that actually a word, or am I making up that I've heard that? Hold on, let me see. Environs? Environs is a plural noun referring to the surrounding area, outskirts, or vicinity of a place in a city or town. Huh? Is it French or something? Because it's popping up in Google Translate of all things. It's just the surroundings. Environ. Definition. Surround. Nope. Environ. environs. Yeah. Huh. I mean, synonyms of environ, to form a circle around. So surround. All right, interesting. But let's see.
My environs have little effect on me.
Maybe, but doesn't a clean room brighten your heart?
No.
I do like order, but admittedly, there are times where, sometimes the lazy boy in you does kick in. I'm like, man, I'm gonna let it slide. And sometimes I don't really care. We'll see.
No.
Oh, can't you at least try?
I don't understand.
Oh, okay. So she truly did. Brighten up your heart. She brighten up his heart.
Oh, if I had some ingredients, I could cook.
I suppose I could acquire fish for you.
What has she been eating? If she's been, to be fair, this may still be the first day.
Aren't you going to eat too?
Monarchs don't require the same food as food as humans.
What food do you require then? What food do you require? What do you mean the same food? What do you eat? What are you like? Monarchs are such a fundamentally established part of the universe that I get why no one's asking the same questions that I'm asking. But now, genuinely, what do you eat? What are you people? Let's see.
Monarchs don't require the same food as humans. We eat air. Let's see.
Oh, that's too bad. See, I'm a really good cook. Everyone in the village loved what I made.
Then why'd they sacrifice you? They sacrificed a good cook? Eating is one of the few pleasures of life. What do you mean they sacrificed you?
Human.
Oh, darn. So she not giving her name? Let's see.
Human. Don't you hate your village?
Darn. I mean, you know what? I get his logic, though. Yep.
They willingly sacrificed you. Why do you not cry or shout or proclaim your hatred of them?
I mean, like, that won't do much. But still, let's see.
I can't say there are any hard feelings.
Really? Really? She better than me? She better than me? I mean, nettled. But at the same time, I do get it. Sometimes, unironically, especially as I've gotten older, I've just realized more and more, freaking and geeking doesn't really do anything for you. It doesn't help. And you can take the pent up adrenaline and emotions and the feelings of being freaking and geeking and put them towards something else, and that can be useful. But the innate act of freaking and geeking in and of itself, it doesn't do anything. So now I just don't some people see me in real life on occasion. They're like, dude, you're so sometimes either zoned out or relaxed or insert non-agitated adjective here, even after really bad or rude situations. I'm always like, it takes effort. It takes effort to get emotional, and getting emotional is never a good thing in our world. It depends on where you are and the context you're in. But in most contexts, when I would get emotional in a negative way, it's not gonna do anything for me. So I get Manurva being like, we ball. It's just, it is a very much ball up top kind of mentality you take. At least I've taken on as I've gotten older. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it's how it is for me. I was like,
I can't say there are any hard feelings. I cried when they chose me as a sacrifice. Why?
Oh, well, still, she did. Okay, she had emotions. Let's see.
Why me? I wailed. I don't want to die. But I knew if I ran away, they'd just pick someone else. I didn't like the thought of that at all. And after a lot of crying and a lot of thinking, I saw a leaf wash out on a wave, only to flow right back. I realized most of us born in the village died there. But I got to leave the village and die out on the vast sea. That made me think I might get to go somewhere no one had ever been before. Then, all of a sudden, it seemed like a big opportunity. Not that I ever expected to be taken in by the time god, though. I'm so lucky.
That's an interesting perspective. That is very selfless of her to be like, if I don't do it, someone else will be forced to. So that's a good, and that's a thing that I'm not, under certain contexts, I think it can be self-sacrificing, but not in many contexts. But also, for her to spin this very negative opportunity entirely by herself, mind you, no one else recontextualized it for her other than the leaf showing up. So for her to take this experience and flip it positively, that is a fantastic mindset, and it is a very important thing where you have to take the good with the bad, and the bad you must make good or find good in the bad. Because life is full of ups and downs. You have to appreciate the downs once you appreciate the ups, because sometimes the ups will be ruined by the downs if you don't appreciate both equally. Obviously, you're probably going to appreciate the ups more, but still. There's a beautiful mentality she took on. Let's see.
I'm so lucky. So, yeah, it worked out. And I worked it out and got all over it already. I'll be okay. Besides, here I am, still alive. Life's too short to waste it on hatred.
And that, yeah, that's my big, is there anyone in my life that I'm like, I want to tear them? Like, no. I don't know. And I think it is, like, think about it like this. You ever heard the phrase, it takes more muscles to frown? Like, literally, can I even frown organically? Like, I guess because my neutral face kind of looks sad or, like, angry or annoyed anyway. Like, this is the neutral face. My lips technically, I guess, like, they're flat. Like, they're kind of turned down. Like, essentially, it takes more muscles, more effort to frown than it does to smile. I can literally feel the difference in, like, the facial muscles being worked. And I do live by that philosophy. There's no, like, not on a literal, you know, I have no enemies, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, not in that way, but in terms of, like, actually holding extensive negativity, not only is that not good for your brain. Oh, your brain's real special and real fragile anyway. Don't hold too much negativity. But also, it is the case for, like, man, I'm lucky to have every day. Who knows what could happen to me a second from now, a minute from now, an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now, a year from now, decade now, century now. Like I don't know what will happen to me. But I do know that nothing's guaranteed that can perish in an instant. So thusly, why would I waste my limited time on this earth, in this vessel, in this body, being hateful, being mean-spirited, being cruel? It's just not, it's not worth it for me. And it's very difficult, and I'm very lazy. So I get what Manurva means here. Life is too short to waste it on hatred. Well, let's see.
Is that so? All right.
Oh, and now they start living together. All right, they're living together more properly. Let's see. She cooked pie. Oh, they're okay, but they're both drinking something. So Krono, so they can eat human food. They just don't typically need human food. Let's see. Oh, and they did actually make it to a harbor. All right. So Chronostasis did actually leave the pendulum seas fully, or at least went near to the shore.
Well, my things are packed. The cleaning's done. I'm ready to go. Thank you for letting me stay with you these last few days. It was a lot of fun. Really. The best days of my life.
Yeah, she had nobody back home for her. Let's see.
Will you return to your village?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I can make it on my own just fine. It'll all work out somehow. I'm sure.
Oh, she's crying. Experiencing a happy life and feeling connection with somebody will do that to you. It'll do that to you. Yep.
I'm sure of it. I'm sorry. I told myself I wouldn't cry, but I know you don't need anyone to cook or...
Aw, she begged to stay.
I know you don't need anyone to cook or clean, but I promise I'll do my best to stay out of the way and not bother you. Please, can I stay here with you?
Because she has nowhere to go. She's not... And ultimately, as beautiful and as amazing it would be to travel the world. And hey, I do love travel. I do love to travel a lot. That's why I occasionally disappear for a while. That's why I'm behind Ichi the Witch. But at the same time, I do understand the fear of interacting with the world. That one, in many ways, doesn't care about you, and two, leaving something that is safe and stable behind. It's very hard to make progress. And of course, she didn't even probably have time to get used to this new normal before probably falling in love with it, being useful to somebody, even just being able to be herself properly in a world that didn't wish to sacrifice her. Let's see. Oh, Krono turns. Well, obviously we know this ends up working out. Let's see.
He finally cried.
Oh, and he does let her stay. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's adorable. She still looks really young, though. She looks very, very young. But let's see. But that's cute. She washes his... Because I guess, yeah, Krono does... Well, to be fair, he does wear that, upper cloak. And, that top. But I guess he doesn't really have, a lower piece. So she washes him and presumably that cloak. They sunbathe together. They read together. They stargaze together. Man, this is adorable. Let's see.
Krono! Where did you go? You usually don't leave for such a long time.
Oh.
Huh? Dirt?
Watch.
Ah, cool. So that's adorable. He makes the flower grow by accelerating its time. No water either. Very, very impressive. Let's see.
Oh! It's pretty, isn't this?
When you read that book.
Right there, that book.
When you read that book, you said you wanted to see one. The season isn't right, but that matters little to me. I found one.
What are the perks of having complete dominion over time, huh? What are those perks? Let's see.
You went all the way just to get one for me? Why?
Because I thought it'd make you happy.
Gentlemen, this is what I always say. Try the Riz no matter what. Even if it's a little bit awkward Riz. Try the Riz no matter what. Cause he threw it out there and he got it. Don't get your male or female. Don't get your wife's mail delivered to you, or your significant other's mail delivered to you. That's not. I'm not fully endorsing the whole like sacrifice, but you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it doesn't matter. I will admit, I'll speak from experience here. Sometimes you'll run into some hardcore defense, either from the player you're 1v1ing, or you will get double teamed or triple teamed, or in some cases, like your boy, you will get squad teamed because they really don't like you. That's long story short. I may go full story time into this. I was out in an area, saw a girl I thought was nice and fine. Went up, talked to her. We were feeling it a little bit. All of her friends appeared. They swarmed me. And I don't know what they thought it was, but clearly it wasn't good. I never saw the woman again for the rest of that night. I didn't see the rest of them. I think they may have just left the club. I feel like I wasn't even doing anything bad. We were chopping up. It was so good. Never got a number. Never saw that. Never saw that woman again. Really unfortunate. But with it being the case, misunderstand the shots you don't take, so take the shots. And clearly, Krono took that shot. And I was assuming it was a green. Let's see. Oh, he took the shot and scored on himself. Minerva, green. Green of doom. Look at him. Look at him. Good, caring about others, worrying what could make them happy. It don't matter how claw you get. It don't matter how many feathers surround your head. It don't matter if you ain't even the same species. The right person, for your boy at least, and clearly Krono, the right woman make you feel 100 million different things in 100 million different ways. Bro. You'll be melting. You've been doing things you never think you do before. You do things you never think you do before. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. That's okay. Humans are humans. Life is life. But I get it, Krono. Sometimes everyone can feel the same type of way. Let's see. Minerva? Green in it. Double green. Plot twist. We thought they were playing against each other. They were playing on the same team. Wasn't even a self-score. Wasn't an assist. It was a layup. Oh, on their first kiss. Very, very nice. Very nice. Very W leap for Minerva too. Like Krono's massive. She actually still managed to snag his neck. All right, very cute, very cute. I'm still going to assume she's an adult for my own sanity. Let's not think about the implications if she was a child that was delivered. Adult sacrifice, not child sacrifice. Some of these sentences very vague with ages. Please just let Deskross be an adult in her mid-20s. The early 30s. Heck, I don't care if Deskross is she's too bad. But with that being the case, let's see. They share a kiss, and now she's pregnant. I'm kidding. Let's see.
I love how your body feels cool to the touch. I love how you can be a worrywart.
Oh. He went and got her armor. And it doesn't even look like the same armor she ends up wearing later on. It's just general armor.
I love how very big your hands are.
That's okay. I do know there are they're very small percentage of women. Like, I always get a different answer. Some people just say they like the bigger size of it because it makes them feel protected. Like, what is the thing about big hands? I don't get it. Like, notably, I do have gargantuan hands. Obviously, I'm like 6'2". 200, like now, I've weighed in like 236 pounds recently. So like, I am just massive. So my hands are massive. Like I have palmed other people's whole faces and palmed whole heads before, and that is like I've gotten 2 compliments. They're like, your back muscles are really nice and your hands are really nice. And I'm like, I don't really get it, but big hands it is a thing that a lot of people seek it. But let's see.
I love how big your hands are. I've never thought to myself, I wish you were human.
Yo, Crow with that jawline. It's so understandable.
You could be any creature in the world, and I'd love.
Whoa, let's not do all that. Let's not. I mean, like, he's already basically half out. I gotta get it. Let's see.
And I'd love you all the same. You happened to be a magic when you found me.
Okay, literally, you found me.
That's all. To me, you're special.
Oh, that's so sweet. So sweet, bro. Somebody she said, "Oh, I don't care if there's quote unquote no consequences for the art. Let him have the baby, bro. Please." Somebody she said, "Say,
my one and only beloved."
Oh, he looks so genuinely happy too. I mentioned it before, bro, but I have a homie like Crow. very serious, very stoic, keeps to himself most of the time. Even, like, still, I'm amazed how we managed to become friends. That was literally just an exposure thing. We happen to be in the same area a lot. We happen to have some of the same interests. And now that man's actually in a relationship, I'm so happy for him. Like legit. Whenever I feel bad about, like, being single or like, just doing my own thing and not focusing on myself, and I have the moments I'm like, you know what? Because of him, because of his current relationship, I'm like, no, I ain't never gonna lose hope. I ain't never gonna lose hope. I'm very happy for him because he is very, very much completed by that woman. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for Crow. Let's see.
I'm sorry, Crow. I couldn't protect our baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Neeson's I better not. I better not be. She better. What? Oh, okay. She's fine. I was about to say. Don't do this to me. Let's see. Shunk. All right. Oh, but the blood. Okay, the blood pours out, but then it shrinks back in, returns back to her. The life and light comes back to her eyes. All right. He's undoing. Okay, so it's Krono, right? He's undoing the sequence of events. Yep. Oh. So he's fluffing up. He's mutating. All right, interesting. Schwip takes everything out. He's undoing the localized time in that area. But the question is, how far is he going to go? Because he mentioned it'd be difficult to do something like that and take a lot of energy. So now that he's nerfed it, especially, I wonder how much it's going to take. Clearly, he is fluffing up, though. He's mutating. Let's see.
That outcome I will not abide.
And see, this is another reason why you can't have time powers, like as a main focal point of your narrative, and you can't really give it to your main characters, because stuff like this can't happen. You know me, I'm very big causality. You shouldn't just have narrative events transpire if you're just gonna undo them. But in this instance, because once again, I feel like no one's gonna capture Krono, and I don't even think Krono's gonna join our main cast in any way, shape, or form. I'm fine with this. We are still very early series, and I'm more than fine with the idea of Big Crow using his authority as Master of Time to undo an event that is unfavorable to him, and it's clearly going to cost something. I don't think Crow, nor Manurva, nor the baby, nor anyone will come out of this arc the same as they entered it. Clearly not. Let's see.
I will not abide.
Ooh, we feel alive. Why you look so clean? What's this? Let's see.
Rewind. Even if I must rewrite the laws of this world.
Will destroy. Up there it is. So yeah, it may, like, this rewind may actually come at the cost of Krono. We'll see.
Will destroy myself in the process. I will permit no timeline where many no longer exists.
W chat, man, Ichi the witch, bro. Ichi the witch, bro. It's not like genuinely. Oh! That's fine. Genuinely. If I'm looking at the lineup week by week, bro. Ichi the witch. To not have a single bad chapter, to be so broad spanning already, it is such a fantastic narrative. It is so good. It's so amazing. W chapters. Hope you guys enjoyed the live hope you guys did the live reactions / reviews. Sorry for the delay. I'm not even gonna say it shouldn't happen again, because I feel like I said it shouldn't happen again the last time. Because I feel like I've done triple reviews for each of the witch like 3 or 4 times at this point. This is like the 4th one, but I'll try to make it happen again. But I hope you guys enjoyed the live reaction. If you've been always seeing this video, please do me a favor and leave "No matter what destiny says, I do deny." That is such a long one, but I know the Ichi the Witch fan base on the channel is very dedicated, and I'm happy to finally provide this to you. So, no matter what destiny decrees, I do deny. I'm not sure if that's the same thing I just said, but that one in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that at least notifications so you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you're going to have a picture down below. You can support me for as long as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You'll also become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, here are the shoes I'm to review, ad-free variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access, and your name listed at the end of literally every single video I produce. Not just all the videos over here on the main channel, but all the videos on the second channel that got the reaction, link in the description down below, where I drop 45-minute to 2-hour-long reaction videos every Saturday at 1 p.m. EST. You get early access to all those as well, ad-free. And on top of that, you also Have your name listed at the end of every single video. If you're a $3 member or $3 patron or higher, you get your name listed right a lot at the end of every single video. And on top of that, you have a link to my co-founder down below. You can drop 5 minutes to a short video, 200 videos, whole video, or any beats at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Once again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.
I'd like to thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Che2MA, Gyomi, Buddha Ura, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Dino, Hector Gonzalez, Tim Thomas, Kilving, Julian Perez, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Idbignova, Straw, Athenzi Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Funny Dude, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striga Man, Brandon Payne, Black Sage, Multi-Batman Superman, Ramondo Furen, Zalims, Enzo, Union I Metatron, Sheesh King, Joe Bean, Aswin, Hedi Prasetya, Sleepin' John, JMB, Katie, The Young Family, Pastel Pandora, Sino King, NMA, and Karina Hernandez. Then, lady, thank you to Artline Art Tier patrons, A+A, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Karina Hernandez, and Lil Kodo. Then, lady, thank you to our Inc. Tier members, King RTX and Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06, along with Zom. And then, lady, thank you to our digital art tier members, J Warrior, AZ Void, and Valden Nissen. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tip patrons, Walkie Munoz, and Aonesto902 at gmail.com.